All right, guys, so the final injury report here in Week 9, Packers versus Lions, just came out with all the designations, and we just received some pretty good news on Jordan Love among some other players, but at the same time, some pretty bad news on one player. The Packers list 4 players questionable, 1 doubtful, and 1 out. So in today's video, we're going to go over the Packers injury report, what it means, and also take a look ahead at the Lions injury report for this Week 9 game. All right, so let's waste no more time and bring up this injury report, and what stands out right away is the 4 players questionable, the 1 player doubtful, and the 1 player out. And we're going to start with the player out, and we're going to start with the bad news, and that is Evan Williams is out of this game. I was fearful that this would be the case. I'm actually shocked Zyer is questionable and Evan Williams is out. I thought it would be the other way around, considering Evan Williams, I heard earlier in the week, it wasn't anything severe, but now he's out until after the bye week. This is massive for the Green Bay Packers, not only because Evan Williams is a great ball player, but because it also puts the Packers in a different personnel. A personnel where that puts Javon Bullard back deep that we saw last week, where he didn't fare too well. It also moves Keyshawn Nixon back into the slot, where in my opinion, he's been playing better outside. But we could have that as well as Zyer Alexander being out of this game. Now, he is questionable, but he didn't practice all week. And it tends to be the case when Zyer is questionable, he doesn't play. If he misses this game, that'll be his 16th game missed in the last 32. He's had a lot of injury issues over the last 2 seasons. The fact that Evan Williams is out, it would be an even bigger blow if Zyer Alexander is out, which would then put the Packers with Eric Stokes and Carrington Valentine at outside cornerbacks, Keyshawn Nixon into the nickel cornerback spot, and Javon Bullard next to Xavier McKinney deep. Now, I'm not saying that's the worst defense, but we're going against the #1 offense in the NFL in terms of points per game scored right now in the Detroit Lions. And they don't have Jameson Williams, but they have Amon St. Brown. They have Sam Laporta. Tim Patrick's been stepping up. And of course, they have a great run game to match with that. The other questionable players include Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Corey Ballantyne, and then we also see Josh Meyers as doubtful. Josh Meyers being doubtful, he didn't practice all week. This is one that it sucks not to have your starting center, but I'm not too worried about it because we saw through 5 snaps a couple weeks ago when Josh Meyers got briefly hurt, the Packers moved Elton Jenkins to center, had Jordan Morgan at right guard, and Sean Ryan at left guard. Both Morgan and Ryan have been swapping out. It's been more of Ryan, but we have 2 guys that have playtime this year, so they can both play guard in this game, no questions asked, and we know Elton Jenkins can pretty much play anywhere on the offensive line, so that one's not as big as an issue to me. Then we see Jordan Love questionable. He got practice yesterday, which was a surprise to me. I thought he'd wait all the way until Friday to get some type of limited action. He was limited yesterday, limited today, and is questionable. He's determined to play. I fully expect Jordan Love to play in this game. I'm just hoping it's not a Jordan Love that is hobbling around like we saw in that Jags game, kind of putting a handcuff on the offensive game plan. Then we see Josh Jacobs is questionable. He mentioned after Wednesday's practice, even though he didn't practice on Wednesday, he was interviewed after the practice and he said, I'm going to be ready to go Sunday. So no worry here, even though he's questionable. Josh Jacobs will be able to go. That would be a massive blow for this offense that I believe their game plan is going to be to run the football against the Detroit Lions. And then Corey Ballantyne also being questionable is a concern if Zyer is out. So then you lose potentially 2 cornerbacks there. So expect the Packers to either bring up Kamal Hadd and Kalen King or both from the practice squad tomorrow or later today. Then going over the Detroit Lions injury report includes 3 out players and 2 doubtful. So they're a pretty banged up football team as well. Defensive tackle Broderick Martin is out with a knee injury, even though he had full participation all week. A little bit of a weird one there. Josh Pascal with an illness didn't practice all week. He is also out. Malcolm Rodriguez, one of their starting linebackers, a solid run defender, didn't practice all week with an ankle injury. He is out. We also see Sione Vaki, one of their running backs. He's doubtful. Makai Wingo, another one of their defensive linemen, is also doubtful. So really, really light on the defensive line with Martin, Pascal, and Makai Wingo all probably not playing in this game. 2 of which are definitely not. One of which in Wingo probably isn't. This is already a pretty banged up defensive line group before this injury report, and I think the Packers are going to be able to run against them. They allow 4.7 yards per carry in the NFL, which is 23rd. Although they don't allow a lot of total running yards, it's because they're up by a lot of points in these games where the other team then can't run. They have to pass to get back into the game. I think if the Packers start strong with a running attack, they will be able to run against the Detroit Lions, and then they can control the clock, control time of possession, and keep the ball out of the Lions offense's hands. So that's the final injury report here of Week 9, Packers versus Lions. It's not as bad as it could be. Hopefully Zyer can end up playing. It seems like Jordan Love is on track to play. Josh Meyers probably out. Evan Williams definitely out. Those two hurt, more so Evan Williams. And hopefully Jeff Hafley is going to have an answer for the different personnel against a very strong offense. But I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. Go click subscribe if you happen to also be a new viewer and want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.